Hello and welcome. My name is Tavishima Ayede. I solve sales and marketing challenges. I'm making today's podcast in my house, so expect to hear the usual audio interruptions. Now, the goal of the podcast is business education, so please spread the word by the time you're done. Tell your friends and your family, Nigerians home and abroad, so that they can benefit from the questions that we tackle. They can do that by subscribing on Spotify, YouTube, Apple, or any player of their choice. And if you have any sales and marketing questions, bring them to me. You can call, you can SMS, you can WhatsApp me on 080-6466-2140. Today on the show, I want to share some discussions that I've been having with one or two people. And, there's someone I know, a listener of the podcast, who has written a book. And of course, there are people who reach out to me every now and then, oh boy, you've been doing this for a while. You should write a book. And someone says, I'm about to get into business. I want to write a book. And there are lots of people who want to get into business and who want to use the book as the primary means of growing the business, as the primary means of getting in sales. Let me repeat. There are lots of people who want to get into business and they want to write a book. The main reason for writing the book is that they want to use that to grow the business. They want to use that to grow the sales. So today, we're going to be freestyling on a number of things related to book writing. So the first question I want to consider is, why should a business person publish a book or write a book? So there are some of you who are looking at things in the right direction, because you know that if you publish a book, it's going to give you authority and it's going to give you credibility. It's going to give a certain measure of trust, and that is going to make it easier to now pull sales. Let me repeat. Some of you are looking at it correct. Now, if I write a book, authority plus credibility equals people trust me. If people trust me, it'll be easier to get in sales. Some of you are also saying, if I publish a book, there's brand visibility, there's recognition. These are the things that will make it easier for me to sell. Some people even say you can use the book itself as a source of lead generation. Now remember that when we say leads on this podcast, we mean any single person who has done something to show that they might be interested in your product or your service. So in other words, somebody who has bought a copy of your book, it might be a sign that the person is interested in your product or service, and maybe it's time for you to now upsell them into coaching, consulting, or whatever. There are some people who take it a step further. They write their books. I've seen this done in the West. I haven't seen any Nigerian business author do this yet, but you write the book, and within the book, you put several calls to action so that when somebody takes that call to action, it's even a stronger sign to show that this person might be interested in your product or your service. So, I don't know. Let's say you write a book on the fundamentals of, let's use industrial cleaning, since I think the last case study we discussed on the podcast, was from Anita, who called in on my radio show in Abuja, who wanted to know the lowdown on getting into the business of industrial cleaning. So let's say you publish a book on the fundamentals of industrial cleaning or whatever. And in one of the chapters, you put there that if anybody is interested in learning about industrial cleaning, that you have created a certain website, that all they have to do is go to www.whatever and put in the promo code, yes, I can. And it will enable the person to join a WhatsApp community and get 50% off on the course or whatever. So you can see that by putting that call to action in a specific chapter in the book, anybody who does that, it's a strong sign that, look, this person is interested. So there are ways that you can use books for lead generation. That is to get people to show that they might be interested in your product or your service. Now, books also lead to new business opportunities. People see your books, they're like, okay, this is the very guy. This guy is sharp. This baby is sharp. Who knows? So all these sorts of things. And ultimately, some people who are thinking of publishing books also want to look at it as a diversified revenue stream. So consulting, that one is there, I'm making some money. Speaking, that one is there, I'm making some money. What else? if you have a physical product you're selling, you're making some money. Then if you also collect one or two coins per book, now it's also won't be bad. But however, let me warn you guys. For those of you who think that there's money in making the book, I have heard this one in America, I've heard this in the UK, and I've heard this in Nigeria. Maybe it doesn't apply in a different country. But as of today, in America, in the UK, and in Nigeria, selling a book is not a good way to make money. The profit per book is not much. To make correct bar when you sell books, you have to sell loads and loads of copies. And I know people who publish a book and maybe they sell 300, 400, 500 copies. That's not the kind of thing that you say you've collected good money. Especially since for most people, the art of writing the book is going to be several months in the making. 3 months, 5 months, 1 year. You write, editor will edit, you will go back, you will rewrite, publisher will give opinion, you will come back, you will rewrite. All that stress. At the end of the day, to sell 500 copies, on top which you're making a few hundred naira on top one copy. Because of course, you guys to pay the printer and the publisher. So maybe there's some other country where the unit economics are different, and if you sell a bunch of books, you make some correct money. But in Nigeria, as of 2025, in America and in the UK, except if you're one of those blockbuster people, forget it. You're not going to make money from your book. So somebody like Obama and his wife, they made good money from their books. But that's because they already had notoriety and fame in other things, and people are looking forward to it. So those kinds of people, they drop the book today. They already have like 1 million people that want to buy. That one is different. So put it in Nigerian context. You're making a few hundred per copy. And if you drop today, 1 million people buy. Do the math. You can see that, okay, the money is now beginning to make sense. Because even if it's only 600, 700 naira you're making per copy, 1 million people buy it on the spot. Do the math. So, a book as a revenue stream, as a first-time author, I beg, just close your eyes. It's not going to make sense. The other things will make sense. Authority, credibility, brand recognition, networking, business opportunities, all those other things will make sense. But if it comes to the money, forget that thing, Jerry. It's just academic. The money you won't see, it's not going to be pure, like people say. It won't be correct money. Then I've heard, and this one I agree, because since I've been running a podcast now for over 5 years and over 1,000 episodes, I can see that yes, if you're going to write a book, it will clarify your thinking and expertise. Because having to collect my thoughts every single time I'm about to make a podcast episode. Look, even if it's a podcast episode where I'm ranting, at least I have to calm down for like 5 minutes and think, okay, I want to rant or I want to insult somebody. How am I going to package this insult? So if nothing else, you have to sit down and gather yourself. So the process of sitting down and gathering yourselves will clarify your thinking. And this thing will help you shape your expertise. Like it will help groom and grow you into the professional, into the authority that you will become. Because you can't just write a book and be writing anyhow. You write to the left, you write to the right. You got to sit down, organize yourself. What am I saying in this chapter? How am I going to lay out my thoughts? Okay, I wrote the whole thing in 5,000 words. The 5,000 words too much. Will people read it? Okay, let's edit it down. What did the publisher say? What did the editor say? Okay, was I off point here? Was I correct here? So all of those things, they go into the equation. Then there are some people who want to write a book because they want to leave a legacy. But this one is not a business something now. So these are some of the reasons why you, as a business person, listen to this podcast right now, you might want to consider publishing a book. But for people who have approached me to say, guy, you have more than enough material to write a book. And actually, it is true. Because as of today, this is like 1,100 and something episodes. If you go and check the YouTube, they're all there. Because if you're listening to this on Spotify, you won't see the number of published episodes. But if you go to YouTube and you check the channel, it's at TavPod. That is TAVPOD. So if you go to YouTube, TavPod, one word, you'll see it there. It's almost 1,200 audio resources that I have now. So yes, somehow, there's enough for a book there. But I'm not going to publish a book because there is one thing that people do not consider. And that is, writing a book is one thing. Selling a book is an entirely different matter. Writing the book is easy. Somebody will say, how can you say writing a book is easy? Writing a book is blood, sweat, and tears. I agree with you. It is blood, sweat, and tears. But if you think writing the book is blood, sweat, and tears, wait until you try and sell the book. Because a lot of us have things that we want to say, we think is important, we think is at the back of our minds, it does not necessarily mean that people want to sit down and read 400 pages or whatever it is of what we think is important. Selling a book is hard. To be honest, I don't know if I want to go through that stress of selling a book. Writing a book is easy. Selling the book is hard. And if you think about it, some of you check in your families, you know people that have written books. You published 500 copies, only sold 20. The remaining 480 something, where is it? Is inside the store. Or is inside your wife's wardrobe. This thing happens all the time. Writing a book is easy. Selling the book is hard. I don't know if I'm ready for all that. And then plus, if these are the main reason why, as a business person, this is why you want to publish a book, you think that publishing a book will help you grow your sales because of the authority and credibility that it gives you, because of the trust, because of the brand recognition that it will give you, because of lead generation opportunities. If these are the things you're looking for, in my own opinion, you can achieve those same aims by doing other things that require less effort. If you engage in public speaking, you will build authority, credibility, and trust. You will get some brand visibility and recognition. It will lead to business opportunities, and you will get some lead generation from there. You will also get diversified revenue streams. Public speaking. I think it is easier to try and become a public speaker. Even if you're going to be a mediocre public speaker, it's easier to do that than to say you want to be an average author. So, try public speaking first before you go to the whole book thing. Then, if you also do long-form digital content, you can become an authority, you can become a brand, and you can get lead generation. So, people say that blogs are no longer working, but anyway, it depends. Financial blogs, I've seen financial blogs and I've seen legal blogs that people follow. So on the popular level, people like you and me, yes, we're not reading blogs anymore. But in highly technical spaces, blogs still work. There are people who read engineering blogs. There are people who read medical blogs. There are people who lead legal blogs. They're highly specialized industries. Blogging is still working. So, you're a baby lawyer. You're coming into this space. One day, you want to become an authority in oil and gas. It's okay to say that, you know what, let me start blogging. Or let me start submitting articles for the MBA journal. MBA is the Nigerian Bar Association. That's the body that all of we lawyers belong to. You can start sending in publications to the MBA. Articles that will be published in the MBA journal, stuff like that. Long form stuff, blogging, articles, or like in my own case, a podcast. These things can lead to authority, credibility, brand recognition, and opportunities for new business. And I think these things are easier to do than writing a book or trying to sell the book. And there's some of you who are real masterful at PR. You can use PR to the same ends. So, in my own opinion, should a business person write a book, publish a book? Oh yes, by all means, especially if you're thinking of Naira and Kobo. If you're thinking about leaving a legacy, I don't know. Is that necessary? But that's just me thinking. But if you're thinking in terms of Naira and Kobo, oh yeah, sure. Write the book, publish the book. Just know that writing the book will be the easy part. Selling the book is the hard part. And unfortunately, there are lots of you who get into business. You're not thinking this thing clear. And so you people are starting your business journey by writing the book. That is backwards. There are some of you who are starting your business journey by writing the book and hoping that the book will lead to other things. Even if you want to write the book, my honest recommendation is, yeah, sure, write the book. But don't start off your business journey writing it. We're talking about authority, credibility, trust. In the early days, who knows you? I'm not saying you're useless. I'm just keeping it real here. In the early days, you are a non-entity. Nobody knows you yet. What book are you writing? What reason does somebody have to pick up your book and to know your thoughts? Nobody knows you. Remember the example I gave of Obama and his wife. It is Obama. If the guy drops the book, My 100 Days in Office, or How Me and Trump Fought, or whatever, we're like, oh, it's Obama. They will buy the book. But for you, you are a non-entity for now. Don't start with the book. Nobody cares who you are. Nobody knows who you are. Remember back in law school, was one hard truth that one of our professors had to teach us. One of my classmates was making arguments back and forth and blah, 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 blah. And my professor for law of evidence, what he told him was, look, this is the position of the law. You will follow the position of the law. You will write the position of the law. And the guy was like, but I think. And my professor told him, nobody cares who you are. Know the law, learn the law, apply the law. When you become something, Professor so and so or Chief Justice so and so, people will now want to know what your point of view is. But for now, nobody cares who you are. Learn the law, know the law, apply the law. When you're somebody, your opinion will matter. It's harsh, but it's the truth. Starting your business journey by writing the book is a fool's errand. Nobody knows who you are. Nobody cares who you are. I mean, look at me. Yes, over 1,000 podcast episodes. You think that's impressive. But on the grand scale in Nigeria, to be honest, who knows me? You're listening. You've been listening for a while. There's some of you that really love and respect what I do. The people who reach out on average have been listening for over a year. I know someone who's been listening for about 3 years. But just try. Go and talk to Momsy. Talk to Popsy. Talk to your girlfriend. Talk to somebody in the office or in church. On a national scale, who knows me? Myself, I'm a non-entity. For me to write this book now, it is a fool's errand. How many copies do I hope I'm going to be able to sell? Anyway, so that's the first question. As a business person, why should you bother publishing a book? Now, I'm going to move on and give some ideas about how to promote your book. Because unfortunately, some of you didn't think this thing through. Someone who listens to the podcast, she has already written the book, so the book is already there. So for me to be saying all this thing now is a waste of time because she has already written the book. So some of you have already written the book. Some of you are already in the process of writing the book. So now we have to look at the question, how to promote your book, whether it's a fictional book or a business book. Because remember, I said that writing the book is the easy part. Selling the book is the hard part. In fact, selling of anything is the hard part. But you are underestimating how hard it is to sell a book, the amount of work that goes into selling a book. So we're going to look at that, how to promote your book. But I just want to give a caveat because selling books, literary something, that is not my specialty. All of you know my background, that my professional and academic background initially was in law, became a wedding photographer, done some stuff in the civil service, and I've done import and export with my brother. Export with my brother in our agri business. And then through all this is where I picked up an interest and a specialty in sales because people are saying that, oh boy, you're good at this thing. Come and teach my people. That's how it started. But selling books, I don't have a specialty there. I have been able to pick up one or two ideas because my cousin, Sue Edward Agema, he runs Sev H Publishing and he has been at this game since 2012. They now have operations in Nigeria and in the UK. And in fact, it's because of the publishing thing that he was able to gain access to global talent status. So he has evaporated his whole family. He and his family, everybody now is in the UK. They've flown, they've gone. They looked at the rest of us and said, people can go and die in Nigeria. So he has gone. So he runs Save Publishing. And they've done over 60 titles, if I can remember. Those are books that they have published and have sold, some successfully, some not so successfully. They have a couple of international awards that they run, things like that. But the thing is, at least he's been doing this thing okay enough that he was able to get UK global talent status, and that is how they migrated. So for those of you who are thinking of Jackpot, that is also another avenue. If you're an accomplished book publisher, you're an accomplished poet, you're an accomplished musician, you're an accomplished, there are migration routes that are open to you. You don't have to jackpot like everybody does by, raising 40 million naira, and then you get to the UK and then you now become a cleaner. You now be cleaning the streets or be working in mortuary. Not everybody has to go that route. This UK Global Talent Scheme, the thing is available. So if you're good at what you do, you've put in the work, you have some rep, you have some cred, you can give it a shot. It worked for my cousin, it might work for you. So from hanging around my cousin now and some of the other people that he hangs around, I've been seeing one or two things. So that's how I'm getting some of my ideas. Then also, there are some family members, well, not family members, friends of family who have published. One of them is Colonel Bello Fadile. He actually is a friend of my parents. Abi? Should I say friend? Abi, acquaintance. And he used to be the pioneer head for the legal army unit here in Nigeria. Now, the reason why some of you might know him is because he was implicated in the Abacha coup, the phantom coup of 1995. And he was given a death sentence. But then when Abdul Salam Abubakar came in 99, as after the death of Abacha, he was left free, and his death sentence was commuted. I mean, is that what they say? It? Commute. Anyway, they reduced the death sentence and then they set him free. So General Abdul Salam set him free. And then in 2025, Colonel Fadile wrote a book. I can't remember the name. It's in my room. I haven't started reading it now. Anyway. And I was now looking at Colonel Fadile, how he was selling this book, because I'm curious, because I know that writing a book is easy, selling the book is really hard. So as Colonel Fadile was making moves, as a small boy who has some back access, no matter how small, I was just looking and saying, okay, what's Uncle doing? What's Uncle doing? Then also Bishop Kuka, my parents knew him from back when he was a seminarian. He ended up being the one who officiated at my parents' wedding. And Bishop Kuka is publishing, at this rate, it's almost like every 2 years he's publishing something. So whenever he releases a new book, me too, I'm always watching like, okay, what's Bishop doing? Although, we the kids, we just know him as Father Kuka. So it's always have to remember to call him Bishop, now that he's a bishop. So we're always watching, okay, what's he doing? So for Colonel Fadile, all the moves that he was doing, public, press, interviews, things like that, ultimately, they did a book launch where they ended up in Yaradua Center. That was this year in 2025. Then for Bishop Kuka, I've noticed that for him, since he already has a public persona, for him, he usually builds it around public speaking, public lectures, media interviews, and then, of course, he also does launches, and that's how he sells his books. And for him in particular, I've noticed that Bishop Kuka, he likes writing about strategic stuff or relevant stuff, so things that people are already talking about. So don't be surprised if after President Tinubu's term, whether he runs a second term or not, don't be surprised if Bishop Kuka releases a series of memoirs about the what's it called? Renewed hope. About the renewed hope, whatever. What was the renewed hope agenda? How did the renewed hope agenda pan out? How did it affect civil society? How did it affect economic progress, blah, blah, blah. So don't be surprised if he writes a book like that. So that's his thing. It also makes it easy to sell because he's writing about topical things. So now with that in mind, telling you guys that, look, I'm not a professional when it comes to book and literary something. It's just that because of the family that I come from, I'm related to one or two people, and my parents know one or two people, so I've been seeing people do one or two things. Like my mom's former boss, Shobanjo, who runs Troika. Troika is the biggest, because my mom was a marketing communications professional, and then she worked for Troika when she got to Lagos. That's back when I was a teenager. And Troika Holdings comprises of what's it called? Marketing, Communications and Advertising. That's MCA. That's one of the old advertising agencies in Lagos. Then which one again? The Quadrant Company. That's the public relations arm. I can't remember what the third one is. So the boss, Shobanjo, is regarded as a don when it comes to advertising, public relations, stuff like that. And he published his book, I can't remember how many years ago. So of course, me too, I was also watching. Oh, okay, Mr. Shobanjo has dropped the book. Okay, what did he do? Where is he speaking? How is he promoting? So this is what I'm getting some of my ideas for. But one thing that I want you guys to realize, those of you who have already written the book, just realize that selling the book is a marathon. There's nobody that has sold the book one time. It doesn't happen that way. Even Obama and Obama's wife, they didn't sell the book one time. It was a marathon, a series of planned and coordinated activities over months, sometimes even close to a year, that helped to sell the book. Let me repeat, selling a book is not a one-time thing. It is a marathon. It's a series of coordinated events. And that is where some of you fall short. You go and you write the book, you're excited. You publish 1,000 copies. You do one launching. At the launching, 20 people buy. And then you're disappointed. Like, what did you expect? You only did one thing. You only did launching, and you expect that people are going to buy 1,000 copies of your book. It doesn't work that way. It's a multifaceted approach. Before you publish the book, you have to start building buzz. These people start talking about their book before the book drops. So whether it's Colonel Fadile, or whether it's Shobanjo, or whether it's the Obamas, you start giving small interviews. This is my view about this. This is my view about that. And oh, by the way, I have an upcoming book set to drop in so and so. Why I have explored so and so issues, particularly in chapter this, where we discuss that and that. They start doing these things months ahead before the book drops. They're trying to build buzz. They're trying to show up in places where the audience, the suspected audience, might be. So I talk about Father Kuka and his whole speaking things. You show up at this foundation, this university, this public event, that public event. You start talking. You're doing this for weeks and months before the book drops. Build buzz. Then, if we step away from all these people that have called now, and we look at things in the modern era. Let's say all these people are old school. Let's say Father Kuka is old school, Kwana Fatila is old school. In the modern era now, author platform is absolutely essential. Author platform just means, what stage do you have? What assets do you have, you yourself as the author, that is going to sell your own book? So for me, if I ever write a book eventually, the fact that I have this podcast is my own platform. I can start toasting you guys 1 year in advance that, okay, the book is dropping. From me toasting you guys here and priming and getting some buzz here, I might be able to sell a few thousand copies. I might. Because overall downloads now on the podcast is close to 32,000. On on Spotify, I have close to 3,000 followers. I don't know about Apple and all the other places. So who knows? In 10 years, if I want to write a book, this is my platform. I can start toasting you guys 1 year in advance, come up with some promo schemes, come up with some stuff. I might be able to sell a few thousand copies here through this podcast. So If you want to use your book for business purposes, you, the author, you got to have a platform in today's day and age. What is your platform? Some authors are big on social media. Have you started building your social media presence? Some people have author site, author blog. Have you started building your site, your blog? Although in America and in the UK, they're big on this whole email list. As per the author himself already has email list, or the author herself. Like Obama's wife, Mrs. Obama. What's her name? So I can't remember her name. Forgive me. She has her own email list. So the next time she's writing another book, she already has the email addresses of, I don't know, hundreds of thousands of people that she can send them email to say, you like my last book? Guess what? New one dropping August 2029, where we talk about this, my fight with Trump, my this, my that, my that, my that. If you love it, click here to pre-order now. If you have a list of a few thousand people, you send that kind of email out, you will get a few hundred or a few thousand people clicking and pre-ordering the book. Money has already started dropping into your account before you have even dropped the book. So, you want to be an author nowadays, whether business book, whether fictional book, you got to start thinking about your platform. So I won't publish, but if I do, well, at least I have one platform, which is the podcast. I don't have a website and I don't have an email list. So if I decide to write a book, I will seriously consider all those sorts of things, because selling a book is hard, and it will help if for weeks and months leading up to when I drop the book, there's places where I can be dropping messages saying 2 months to go, click on this, get this discount, or click on this. Not only will you get a copy of the book, you will have a chance to sit with me and do guest reading at Hilton Hotel in Abuja and Sheraton Hotel in Lagos. Come up with some marketing campaigns or something. I will start creating the platforms where I can start marketing this book and building buzz before the book drops. Now, those of you who are writing the book, or those of you who you've already written the book, can you see the work that lies ahead of you? And remember, I told you that if this thing is about the money, selling 500 copies will not give you good money. Selling 500 copies, selling 1,000 copies, hell, selling 2,000 copies will not give you good money. You can see why I say it is hard. And that's why for some business people, I tell them, this book thing, just channel all your attention into building your business first, the main business, before you go on this book thing. It will pay you more to channel all this energy. Okay, the example I gave was industrial cleaning. It will pay you, it will profit you more, in my own opinion, to take all this time and energy into building a wonderful industrial cleaning business than to say you want to make a killing by writing a book on industrial cleaning. That's my own primary advice. The book thing, okay, it makes sense, but channel your energy, build the business first. You will get some good paper coming through the business. Then investing 3-4 years, getting a book, and then you're only able to sell 1,000 copies. At the end of the day, anyway, let me stop talking. Okay, literary communities. Okay, this one that I saw my cousin do, and this is why I know that is work. You have to engage in literary communities, as in you will travel. Online clubs, you have to be there. Offline clubs, you have to be there. Lagos, literary meeting, association of these authors, whatever, you will travel up and down. Because before my cousin left for the UK, or more, he was always on the road. Today, Benue State, tomorrow, Port Harcourt, then Lagos, then Enugu, then Abuja, then that's just the level of work that is involved. The people in the community, they need to know you, they need to see you, and you're trying to build the buzz. You're trying to be on stage, talk about this, your upcoming book or the upcoming project that you're working on. The people need to see you. You will travel, die. If you don't have money for a flight, think about it. Stop calculating the thing in your head now. You live in Abuja, you enter overnight bus to go to Lagos. How many hours is that? And then, of course, on the online thing, literary blogs, you should be showing up on other people's blogs, contributing on their blogs, talking about your upcoming books on their blogs. For those who are able to get to media houses, it will help. If you know somebody in Channels TV, it will help. If you don't know somebody in Channels TV, but in your state, there's a local newspaper, well, if you can get there, it might help. Then there's the publication and launch itself. There are some people who do self-publishing and who do print on demand. Print on demand just means I don't want to print 1,000 copies and then I only sell 20. Print on demand just means if somebody wants the book, they will click, the publisher will print it and then send it to them. Now, that option is available on Amazon, and it's mostly a way that Nigerian authors reach people in diaspora. Not really here. We haven't really... And I don't know why. Somebody who is in the book space will explain it one day. But mostly Nigerians in diaspora. So yeah, people who want your book, they will click, and then a halfway house will just publish the thing, print it, bind it, and then send it to them specifically, so that you don't have to publish 1,000 books, and at the end of the day, you only sell 20. So self-publishing, printing on demand, that's available on Amazon. Then I also hear that there's something called Okada Books in Nigeria. That is an e-platform that you can do that through. But please verify. That is what I hear. Like I said, I hang around my cousin. I hang around a couple of people. So I have not gone on Okada Books, and I have not used Okada Books. But I hear, please go and verify, that you can do self-publishing, printing on demand through Okada Books. Then, what else? If you're the old school type, you already printed 5,000 copies of your book, then you have to work out physical distribution. And this is where I said the traveling is going to happen. Abuja, we don't really have bookstores like that. Let me be honest with you. The big bookstores, they're in Lagos and they're in the east. So you will have to travel. I don't know how you only do email and phone call and you're going to end up in local stores. I don't know how that's going to work, but you need to end up in local stores. You will have to travel. There are literary festivals that happen in the east, that happen in Lagos. My cousin was able to organize with some other people a literary festival that has gone on like 5 or 6 editions now. In fact, he still flies back to attend that one. He flew back like 3 months ago to attend the one that happened in Benue State. So these things happen. You've printed the books. You will have to be at these events. You go and buy stand or you go and buy stall. You have to figure out a way to do pop-ups at different markets. Then there's also direct sales. Direct sales just means you hustle your own book. Whether you like it or not, for people who sell physical stuff, direct sales is something that they do. When I spoke about Amaka, that's Magnisi, who does exquisite leather bags in Nigeria, luxury leather bags based in Abuja. For her, that's how she started. Her and her husband cut, sew, join, do everything. You make 50 copies. You now go and put the 50 copies in your car. And that's it. You begin the hustle, direct sales. You drive to somebody's office. You go and sell 1 or 2 bags. If the person likes it, our co-workers are there. You try and sell again. On the day you're tired, you tell your husband, oh, honey, I've been able to make 1 or 2 orders. You tell the house girl, drop it in the husband's car. Honey, during your break, please go and drop it at this place, that place. That is direct sales. You will have to hustle your book. You take a few copies, put it in the boot of your car. Because you never know. You'll be talking to somebody, maybe they're interested. Oh, the book is here. It's not that expensive. It's just 2.5 for 1. You can buy 10 copies right now. You will have to do direct sales. Then, those of you who are really creative types, I'm sure there are ways you'll figure out partnerships and collaborations. But you can see now what I'm saying. You can see the level of hassle that is involved in selling the book, which is why I think you're better off just focusing on your business than on trying to go and use the book first to enter into business. Then launch and events. So this one's one that Colonel Fadile did well, and it's even one that IBB Ibrahim Badamasi Babangida. He was military president from 80. When I was a kid, he was president. I think his coup came over. Okay, no, it was Buhari that I think Buhari came in first. Buhari knocked off. There was a civilian president in 1981, 1982. I can't remember his name. As an embryo then, so I can't remember all these things. So Buhari school come first, and then I think after that Babangida school, and then Babangida ends up being president from like 85 until Abacha. So IBB also released his own memoirs. That's not long after Colonel Fadile. In fact, some people were saying that what's wrong with all these colonels and generals? Why are all of them dropping books at the same time? So that's one strategy that they did very, very well. So Colonel Fadile's own was Yaradua Center, invited everybody. IBB's own was the same thing. Presidents were there, governors were there, correct buzz on the media, stuff like that. I hear the IBB even got involved in quarreling with people on Twitter. Of course, that kind of thing helps. If IBB is quarreling with people on Twitter, you say, now wow, see General, he's dragging with people. What did General say? In fact, let me go and buy the book. So, launches and events, yes, that can be done if you're one of those types. Unfortunately, me, I don't know how to plan shishi. I can't plan gang. If you tell me to come organize the event for you, I have no idea who to invite or how to invite or how to plan. Oh, and then there's also targeted advertisements. You can advertise online. So, to be honest, we've already done 40 minutes, and the thing is, you can keep on going on and on and on and on and on about how you can sell a book. But the point I was just trying to make is selling a book is hard. Selling a book is a marathon. It's not a one-day event. For those of you who you tried to organize a launch, you printed 1,000 copies, you only sold 20. Now you know what you did wrong. What you did wrong was you thought that this thing is a one-time thing. You didn't realize that it's a marathon, that is a sequence of events. So go back, start again, and start coordinating a sequence of events that will lead up to you selling copies, moving units. It is because of this hassle and level of work that is involved that I tell a lot of people who come to me with this whole book thing. That's why I tell you don't write a book. The thing is not that I am jealous of you and I don't want you to progress. That's why I'm saying don't write the book. In case there are some of you who think, I'm just trying to hold you down. That me, I haven't written my own book. So if you ask me, I'm trying to limit you and keep you small. I'm just trying to tell you that, look, from a sales and business development perspective, I know how hard it is to sell a book. And I know how hard it is to try and sell your product or service. It is easier to sell your product or service than to sell the book. So if you want to break into the industrial cleaning space, it will be easier for you to build a solid business in industrial cleaning first. Then later on write the book. Than to say, I am entering into industrial cleaning. Let me write the book and use the book to lead my way into the whole thing. So please, some of you, you're thinking backwards. If you've already written the book, no problem. Use Google, use ChatGPT, talk to people who are in the industry, and come up with a sequence of activities. This one is not just one thing. Remember when I spoke about the Obamas and the other people that I've spoken about, none of them did only one thing. Even Oprah Winfrey or all these other people who write books, they never do just one thing. Go and visit here, talk there, be on this blog, be on this TV, be on this interview, have your own platform, send to your mailing list, talk on podcast. Look, whichever one that is available to you, come up with a sequence of activities that you will coordinate for several weeks or several months before the book drops. And I think I've overstressed my point. So I'll stop here. That's all for today. Remember, if you have questions around sales and marketing, bring them to me. Call me, SMS me, send me a WhatsApp message on 080-6466-2140. Thank you very much for your time and attention. I'll catch you at the next episode.